Hello and welcome to my podcast. It's Beaten Podcast, episode number 3. If you were here last week, you'll have heard a great deal of anecdotes about how Robert had a lot of control over myself and how we used that control and what my life was like living with him in the early stages. Today, we're going to be discussing something a little bit more in depth as to the control, coercion, or whatever it is you want to call it, and see what you think. Trust me though, what you're going to hear, you'll probably start thinking to yourself, what the actual fuck? And Dougal, why the hell did you go along with any of that? Right? Don't know. Just when you're in that situation, you kind of find it a little bit difficult to say no or to get out of these situations, right? Some of you may have experienced this with partners and things like that, right? And it's very sad, it's very difficult. It's easy for somebody on the outside to look in and say, yeah, that is weird and you shouldn't be doing that, so get out, right? Anyway, so all these stories are true, right? I don't make anything up, not even for the clicks and views. These are true, let's get on with it. There's a lot to go through, so these are in no particular order. I'm just gonna reel off a bunch of story times. Should be fun. Can't wait for this. Sorry. Anyway, right. I've got a list here, right? So if you hear ruffling of paper, that's what that is. Oh, right. Okay. So at one point, right. This ties in with a number of things. He hates football, right? I mentioned this in my last episode. He hates football with a passion, and anybody that likes it, right? But more so, he hates, I don't know, right? So I came home from work one day, right? And he was, I came home from work one day, and on the side there was this letter. It was addressed to myself, right? So I thought, okay, that's mine. Obviously it was addressed to me, so I took it and I went straight to my bedroom, just basically to unwind from work, basically, straightforward. Anyway, I took the letter with me. I was sat on my bed, and Robert, he came to see me in my bedroom, right? And he sat there next to me, and he said, Dougal. He didn't say Dougal. Obviously, he said my name, but he said Dougal. Who's the letter from? I looked at him. I looked at my letter. I looked back at him, and I said, "Don't know. I haven't opened it yet," because I hadn't opened it. I wasn't in any desperate need to open the letter. Wasn't on the top of my priority list at the time. But he wanted to know what was the letter, and so he looked at me and he said, "Well, open it." So I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, right, I got nothing to hide, because the implication was that I'm hiding stuff from him, right? And I opened the letter and I read it. I quickly skimmed over it, right? And he said, "What is it?" I said, it's just a letter, It was addressed from Hearts Football Club, which is my favourite football team, if anybody didn't know. Thank you. So it was addressed from the football club, and he said, why are they sending you a letter? What's it about? Why are they sending letters? All it was a basic circular, I mean, you probably don't get those these days, do you? But if you're on a mailing list of any sort and they want to send you information then that's what happens. That's all that was. Not that I had to explain what it was or why it was anything, but that's all it was, right? And he was like, "Why are they sending you a letter? What are you doing? Why are they sending you a letter?" I was like, "What the fuck? What? Why?" I didn't understand. Anyway, he's just like thinking that I'm hiding things from him. So this is what happened. This is and this is actually embarrassing to admit to, right? In front of what, tens of people that are going to be watching, right? He said to me, right, rip it up, or he ripped it up. I can't remember if it was he told me to rip it up, or I think he ripped it up. He ripped up the letter, right? And you're sat there thinking, that's pretty bad. Why the fuck's he ripping? That's a bit of an overreaction. Yes, it was an overreaction, but that wasn't actually the worst of it. What actually happened then was he said to me, right, eat the letter, eat it. And that's what happened. So so I put the letter, the ripped up pieces of the letter in my mouth, and he told me to chew it, so I did. I didn't swallow any of it because that would be utterly insane. But yeah, that was bad enough in my opinion. Don't know why. Just don't know why I did it. Don't know why he wanted me to do it. Don't know what the problem with it was. But yeah, apparently don't get letters from your favourite football team. I guess that's the moral of that story, isn't it? There was another one which is on a similar vein, which will be brilliant for you to know, right? Back in those days, I was a smoker. Don't smoke now, right? Don't do it, kids. It's bad for you, right? But back then I was a heavy smoker, right? I smoked 20 to 30 a day, and he didn't like me smoking. He wasn't a smoker. He didn't like me smoking. One time I went outside to have a cigarette, and when I came back in, I sat back down and carried on watching TV, and he came over to me and he had a go at me for smoking. And he said to me, now again, I can't remember if he did it or if he made me do it. I can't remember, but the upshot of it was that the rest of the cigarettes that I had were to be ripped up and scrunched up, and then he told me to eat them, which again I did. I did do that. I don't remember if I swallowed any of this. I don't think I did. Maybe bits, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that is actually again something that actually happened, which was looking back again, is very, very insane. So if you are ever watching this, Robert, yes, it was a little bit insane, and it shouldn't have happened, and you should have been behind bars. Thank you. Right? Maybe not behind bars for those specific. I don't know. Okay, so those two stories pretty much insane, right? Okay, the next one is not quite on those wavelengths, but yeah, right. So I used to work, right. At this time, I was working in a factory, for reasons I'll probably explain a bit later. But I was working in this factory, right, and I used to work long hours, right, really long hours, because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go home, so it was better to stay. I used to work all overtime and stuff like that. And one night, I finished work about 10 o'clock at night, right, and I came home, got on the bus, right, and Robert knew, like, the exact time that I should be home, what time the buses get off and whatnot, right. On this occasion, I was 10 minutes late. The reason I was 10 minutes late was because I decided to go to the shop on the way back, right. But it was only 10 minutes, wasn't the end of the world, right. So I came in, and he said to me, "Why are you late?" And I said, "I don't remember. I don't think I even said I went to the shop. I just don't know." But he said, okay, now this was insane, right? And I hate people like this. I really, really hate people like this, okay? He said to me, "You've been to the pub, haven't you?" I said, no, I haven't, because I hadn't been to the pub, right? He said, "You've been to the pub, haven't you?" I said, no. He said, "Don't lie. You have been to the pub, haven't you?" I said, no. And then he said again, "You've been to the pub, haven't you?" And then he hit me on the head, right? I stood my ground. I said, no. He said, "You have." And then he hit me again, right? It wasn't like punching. It was like knuckles rapping on the top of your head. Hurts, right? It does hurt. And he kept saying this, and he kept doing that. Every time he asked the question, he hit me on the head. And I kept saying no. Eventually, I got pissed off. As you would, right? I got pissed off, and I thought the only way to shut him up and the only way to stop him doing that was, I said, "All right then, yes I did." Right? It was plain as day that I was lying, right? It was plain as day that I'd only said that to shut him up. And instantaneously, he said, "Oh, why were you lying then?" And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you actually thick as fuck?" Right? That was what I was thinking. But that's the sort of thing that people do that all the time. People go through that sort of thing. These type of people, they want to know, they want you to tell them what they want to hear, right? And that's what happened on that occasion. He kept going until I told him his version of events, which weren't even true. So when I lied and said that I'd been to the pub, he accepted that as the truth, even though it was a lie. So there you go. That was insane, right? Absolutely insane. Another time I was late home again. I'd just come off, I think I'd got a lift, I can't quite remember, but I was walking back. Yeah, I think I might have got the bus. I was walking back to the flat, and I actually met him on the way to the flat because he'd come out to look for me to see if I was okay, and I was like literally about 5 minutes late or something like that, and it was like he came out to look for me, which again is not normal behaviour. What else did he do? One time, oh yeah, I can't quite remember the reason or the lead up to this, but I was cooking dinner, right? And it was like, I remember there was this tray of chips, right? And I had the tray of chips in my hand, and for some reason he got angry. Can't remember why, but he ended up knocking the tray out of my hands, and the chips went like all over the kitchen floor. and it was I was he said to me, he said to me, what pick well, basically forced me to pick them up. I don't remember the upshot of it, or why he did it, or what the reasons surrounding it, but I just remember that he, even though it was him that made me do it, yeah, it was his fault, whatever it was, and then he made me clean it up. He shouted at me, clean all that up. Then, Anyway, that's just another one. The next one, right? So we're gonna get through these a bit quicker now, because time. But anyway, right? He, for some reason, he hated my brother, right? One of my brothers, he hated my brother because my brother wasn't working, right? He actually hated, right? So what happened, right? I had my mobile phone, right, and I had my brother's number in my phone, and I was looking at my phone one day, and I saw that my brother's number wasn't there, and I was like, what's happened? And Robert said to me, oh yeah, I deleted it. And I said why? He said something about, he's not working. And I was like, what the fuck? What did one have to do with the other? I didn't understand the correlation there, but yeah, apparently that is actually true. that happened. He also made prank calls to my other brother. I don't quite know what these entailed, but there were prank calls to my brother because Robert didn't like the way that my brother answered the phone. Anybody with any clue, or anybody with any experience in psychology want to answer the whys of that one? I don't really get it. I still don't get it. Disliked my sister-in-law, that is one of my other brother's sister, my brother's sister. No, it's not. What are you on about? My brother's wife, even, right? Because she was abrupt on the phone. She was abrupt on the phone. She was added to the hated list. Robert had a thing, right? This other occasion, my mum phoned me, right? And she phoned me, but she got cut off because she was on payphone, and about an hour later she phoned me back again, and Robert was like, why is your mum phoning you twice so soon after? What's going on? That's what he said. What's going on? I was like, nothing's going on. It's just my mum. Why is she not allowed to phone? What the hell? Oh. Another occasion was when Robert ransacked my bedroom because he was angry with me. He ripped up and damaged a lot of personal possessions. Nothing like really expensive or anything like that, just possessions, ripped up things which meant something to me and stuff like that. I can't quite remember what it was that I'd done on that occasion to piss him off, but I came home from work one day and he'd done all that. So that was good. Yep, that was good. He got angry with me one time when he found out that I was I was planning on moving out. So, yeah, that might have tied in with that last one, actually. Possibly. Not sure. I remember one time when he got angry with me because I drunk the last beer from the fridge, right? Even though it was mine. it was my can of beer, and I drank it. You know, I think I had every right to drink it, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit presumptuous here. I don't know. Then this other time was a really, really strange, right? Okay, well, not really strange. It was just strange. I mean, everything else here has been strange, but he, like, it was like bin day, right? And we were taking the bins out and I was putting the bins, right? And he unbeknownst to me, right, he did a nice thing for me, right? He ran like a sink full of water for me to wash my hands when I got back in. I don't really know why. Maybe I could have done that myself. I don't know. But anyway, I came in after taking the bins out, and I walked past the bathroom. I think I did go to wash my hands in another sink, but I didn't use the water that he had prepared for me to do it, and he got angry about that, right? And he actually hit me on the head for not doing that. And I remember I screamed like like a little girl. I actually screamed. It was like 8 in the morning. I remember I screamed to high heaven because I was like, I wanted people to hear, right? I did want people to hear that. Nobody did, anyway. But yeah. Oh fucking hell, right. So there was at one point I wasn't working, right, and I needed to get a job. I got a job. I got a job interview. Was it? Yeah, I had a job interview, and but the people from the job, they phoned me, and Robert answered, okay, and I don't know why he did this. Fucking stupid moron. I don't know, right? It was a job I really wanted. Anyway, he was speaking to the people on the other end of the phone, and for some reason he just let out a massive burp down the phone because he just want. I don't know why. I just don't. Anyway, that's what he did. Yes, that was very irritating. Another time, I was going for another job. It was with an employment agency. This one, and I went to the interview at this employment agency, and when I got there, they told me that my flatmate, that would be Robert, had spoken to them and told them bad things about me or something like that. It's like, what the fuck? What is his problem? You know, this is me trying to do something good. I needed a job, and I think he actually needed me to get a job so that I could pay bills and stuff like that. Anyway, but I don't have a clue what was going on, why he was doing it. Another employment issue was when I eventually got a job. I was in this. It was like a really, really bad job. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Probably best that I didn't stay there long term. It was a temping job, but it was like folding letters and stuffing envelopes. Yeah, it sounds like a dodgy job, but it was actually for a reputable company. So anyway, but Robert one time he insisted that I leave, not for my own benefit, of course, but to join this, to go and work for this factory, because factory work is definitely better than like a big company which is what I was working for anyway. But yeah, I did actually leave to go and join this factory, which by the way ended up being his ultimate downfall. So never mind, better luck next time, Robert, isn't it? That story will be coming up in a future episode, by the way. What else? Right, okay, so another one that is going to be coming up in a later episode, which I'll explain more about, but a little snippet is that he called the police to report me missing because I was missing for an hour. I'd gone, I can't tell you where right now. I run away, basically. That's coming up in a future episode. You're not going to want to miss that, honestly. That is brilliant. So, computer issues at home. We bought a computer, right, off this guy, this friend. We bought, it's like a second-hand computer. Anyway, yeah. I was supposed to be the computer guru, so whenever there was an issue with it, I was called on, and I was supposed to be teaching him how to use a computer because he didn't know how to use computers. And I remember, like, I used to have like this twitch on one of my fingers. It's kind of just a twitch, right? So I've got my finger on the mouse, right, and I used to accidentally right click the mouse, right? As anybody knows, it does fuck all, right? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't break the computer. It doesn't do anything, right? And he used to shout at me for doing that. Why are you clicking that? Why do you keep doing that? I was like, fuck's sake, leave me alone. Leave me alone. What's wrong with you? Honestly. Anyway, another one was he got frustrated. I guess he got frustrated because I couldn't fix an issue. There was an issue with his computer. I don't know what it was, but he said, I thought you knew about computers. I do know about computers. I just don't know how to fix computers. Thank you very much. Bloody hell, Jesus Christ. Anyway, and yes, this is another one of my favourite stories. Right? I've got a few, but this is one of my favourite ones. It actually makes me laugh and cringe at the same time. Right? So we got this computer, as I mentioned, and there was something wrong with it. And now he got the old owner to come in and have a look at it for us to try and fix it, right? So the guy was here, the guy who used to own the computer. He came over and he was looking through it, and he was browsing the internet history, I think it was. And I know what you're thinking, but you'd be wrong, right? Okay, so he was browsing the internet history, and he brought up the history showed that there had been a bunch of sports pages accessed, right? And Robert says to me, he says, Dougal, you've been on this computer, haven't you? And I said, no, I haven't been on the computer. Yes, you have been on the computer. No, I haven't. This sounds familiar, this story, right? He said, yes, you have. Look at these websites that have been accessed. I would never access sports-related websites, right? Never. Because he wasn't a sporty person. He hated sports even to watch it, right? So he categorically said, no, I would never do it. You have been doing it. You have been on this computer. Even if this was true, right, there was absolutely no reason to even have a go at me for being on the computer, because it was actually my computer as well. We bought it in a threesome, right? All three of us, we went thirds. Although he didn't pay for it, his girlfriend paid it off. So basically, I paid. Yeah. Anyway, right. So, I was like, I still maintain my innocence because it wasn't me. I hadn't touched the computer, basically. Definitely not on my own since he got it. I had no interest in it, to be honest. I didn't really want to go. You know, yes, I liked the computer. I liked computers, and I knew about them and everything else. But I worked on computers at work, so I didn't have any need to come home to use them, right? And it was adamant that I'd use this computer, and I was maintaining my innocence, and he was saying, no, you've definitely used the computer because it's sports pages that have been accessed, and he would never do that, obviously not, right? So I said, so I looked at the because you know, I do know a little bit about computers and the internet history. They have time accessed, right? So you can see what time these websites were accessed, and I looked and it said Tuesday 2:30 or something like that, right? And I was like, yeah, no, I was working at that time. That couldn't have been me. I was definitely working at that time, and obviously that's verifiable, even if he wanted to check that, especially as we worked in the same place, right? And he said, no, I don't believe you. No, you definitely did it. You definitely did it. So even though I had like a cast iron alibi that could not be faked, he was like, no, you definitely still did it. It was definitely still you. Who else would it be? It's like, you probably. For fuck's sake. Oh yeah, that was just a bit of fun, wasn't it? Oh, you know. Another one, right? We're almost at the end here, right? Another one was one time, I think it was a Friday afternoon or something like that. I'd just come home from work, and I needed to pop out to get some stamps, right? I needed stamps because I needed to send something off via the mail, right? With stamps. So I said, Robert, I'm going to the shop to get some stamps. So I went out to the shop and I got some stamps. Whilst I was out there, I bumped into a friend, an actual friend, one of my old friends, very nice guy, and I got talking to him, and I don't know, it must have been about half an hour, something like that. God, that, you know, that in itself is scary enough. So I was talking to him, and then I left and I went back home, right? Just as I was getting home, unfortunately for me, his girlfriend was also arriving home in her car, right? And then the inevitable happened. Robert flipped and he said how suspicious it was, the fact that we were both arriving at the same time. So the thought process was that I had gone up to his girlfriend's work or something and met her up there, and we were being accused as a couple for whatever it was that was in his little brain. The final one, right, okay, is I don't know why he did this, and I still don't know why. I can't remember. I don't think there was an actual reason. He was angry. He was always angry about something anyway. So, for some reason or other, like, he was sort of, he grabbed hold of my wallet, and all my bank stuff came out, like my bank cards came out and everything, right? And when I put my bank cards back in, I noticed that my main card was not there, right? My banking card that had my money in it, it wasn't there. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously? So, obviously, I knew that he'd taken it, right? I don't know why he'd taken it, but he did. It's not his, right? So, instead of confronting him about it, I called my bank and I said, I need a new card sent, because I didn't have my card and needed a card, right? So yeah, they sent a new card. I then had to go all sort of undercover to try and make sure I got a hold of my new card before Robert found out anyway. Eventually, when I did get my new card, Robert said to me, "Why'd you get a new card?" I said, "Well, I lost my old one," and he said, "But you knew that I had yours." And I was like, "Okay, what?" I was like, how is that even a thing? Like, because if he thought that I knew, why would I allow him to have my card? You know, in what world, in what universe is that normal? It's not normal, is it? Anyway, yeah, that's all the stories that we have today. I'm surprised I got through them all, to be honest with you. So yeah, there we go. Don't know what else to say. I think you'll agree some of those stories there were a little bit insane, right? And they were all true. That's the worst part of it. They were all true. And I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. As you can see now what it is I'm talking about on this, because I know the whole podcast has been a bit scattered here, there and everywhere. I'm trying to get through a lot of different stories, and they're not all necessarily in the right order. But if you come back for the next episode, we're going to be talking a bit more about this situation and everything, right? So until next time, please don't live your life like mine. And have a good day, and take care of yourselves, and bye bye.